Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Gonna jump on a quick thread response. Mike over at MGK Boston, he did a thread, and I just saw Gary over at Physical Format Rock and Roll had done a response to it, and just really loved Gary's thread. Just listening to it, watching him do it, and it just kind of got me a little fired up. So I went over to my collection and just started pulling stuff out to answer the thread question, and had a minute, so I thought I would jump on board and do a video here. And simply put, Mike just asked us, I think the thread is called, let me pull it up here again really quick. It's called 12 plus 1 equals 13 greatest hits albums. So it was just that, show 13 of your favorite greatest hits albums, or just 13 greatest hits albums. He kind of talked about how he, maybe saw that greatest hits albums weren't getting as much love in the VC and that type of thing, so he threw out the thread. So yeah, I'll try to remember to put Gary and Mike's link down below, so go check out their channels, definitely sub to them. And yeah, let me just kind of go through and show you what I pulled out. Like I said, I just started pulling stuff, so I wasn't really counting, and I was even skipping over a lot of stuff thinking, okay, and I pulled out way more than I needed. So I thought what I would do is I'll just do a quick flash, since I pulled them out anyway, have to put them away, I might as well get some use out of them. I'll do a quick flash of the ones that didn't make my 13 when I narrowed it down, and then the last 13 that I'm actually picking for the video, I'll show at the end. So these are the ones that just didn't quite make it into that top 13. Alright, so we start here with the Flock of Seagulls, the best of. And on these I won't spend much time, because like I said, these aren't the ones that made it. So Def Leppard, this is the Vault Greatest Hits, nice 2 LP set. The Cure's Greatest Hits, same thing, very cool 2 LP set. The Best of REM, another great one. This one almost cracked into the 13. It's Spice One, kind of some great early 90s hip hop there, which just takes me back to my childhood. Or teenagehood, I should say. Bo Diddley, this is the singles collection. Again, just another awesome 2 LP set, a bunch of Bo Diddley. KRS-One, a retrospective, just kind of Boogie Down Productions and KRS-One's greatest hits. So again, another nice 2 LP set there. Bone Thugs and Harmony, Volume 1, another nice 2 LP set. Very best of Diana Krall, my girl right there. From a modern day vocal jazz artist, my absolute favorite. And then going all the way back to Miss Class herself, Dionne Warwick. This is greatest hits 79 through 1990. Another fantastic one. And one of the geniuses, just one of the pure entertainers of all time, Heidi Ho Man, Cab Calloway. This is classics and kind of a greatest 2 LP greatest hits there. I mean, that dude is just legendary. Africa Bambaataa, another nice 2 LP set with all the greatest hits. So you can see some pretty good ones here that didn't quite make the cut. Gordon Lightfoot, this is Gord's Gold, another classic kind of folk album, the whole night. I mean, you guys know Gordon. Paul Revere and the Raiders, this is the best of. And one of the main reasons I pulled this, I just want to kind of say this, is the song on here, Just Like Me, is arguably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, garage rock song of all time. It just has such an awesome groove to it, and I absolutely love it, so that one kind of jumped out at me. Slade, Come On Feel the Hits, another nice 2 LP greatest hits there. Sinead O'Connor, So Far, the best of. Kind of know what to expect on that album. And actually, song for song, I mean, a fantastic greatest hits album right here, which is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Another just really, really good one. Mary J. Blige, a retrospective. Another great greatest hits album. And this is a very cool one too. This is not very easy to find these days. But this is one of the ones I picked up early in my collecting years. Jewel Greatest Hits, another awesome one. And McGraw, 2013 to 2019, another cool greatest hits there. Again, another one barely didn't make that top 13 because it was in, so I pulled it for something else. But the Psychedelic Furs, and this is All of This and Nothing. Another awesome album there from 1988. And last but not least, on the ones that just didn't quite make it in, although this to me is a must-have, which is Bill Withers' Greatest Hits. I mean, just from a soul perspective, this is just one of the best Greatest Hits albums of all time. So those were the ones that just didn't quite make the 13, and then these are the ones that I did pick for the 13. And the main reason I picked these, I had to set some type of standard, otherwise I can't figure out how to whittle things down. And I just kind of thought about which ones do I listen to the most, or ones that I was so excited when I first saw that they had been issued or pressed on vinyl. Like I could not wait to get my hands on it the moment I found out they were going to be pressed. So that's kind of how I whittled it down. So we'll start here with A Tribe Called Quest anthology here. Just another fantastic album, really one that kind of shows why Tribe is one of the absolute greatest hip-hop groups of all time. I mean, just start with the first album, Side A. Check the Rhyme, Bonita Applebaum, Award Tour, Can I Kick It, and Scenario. I mean, good gracious. Arguably one of the best sides of an album from a hip-hop perspective of all time. That would definitely have to go in that discussion. So fantastic album there. Next here, Phil Collins, The Singles. Again, awesome 2 LP, just kind of a greatest hits. If I can show you the track listing there, so I don't have to kind of read them all out. So yeah, fantastic album there. This is one I love to spin a lot. LL Cool J's Greatest Hits. Sorry, trying to get the glare out there. Another really good one right here. Going all the way back from his earlier stuff, like when he was in what I used to call his power rap days, like during radio and that type of thing, where you had songs like Rock the Bells, I Can't Live Without My Radio, going into my favorite album by him, which is I'm Bad. I Need Love, I'm Bad, and stuff like that off of that. I'm going back to Cali, the Jiggling Baby, Big Old Butt, and then going even later into more of his R&B type of phase with Doing It and stuff like that. So a very good span of his career up to this point in time when this album came out, which was 1996. Really great album there. And probably the one out of everything I showed here that I listened to the most, which is Eddie Money's Sounds of Money. This Greatest Hits album is just, I mean, it's Eddie Money, so of course Baby Hold On, 2 Tickets to Paradise, and then going into his 80s stuff with I Want to Go Back, Walk on Water, Take Me Home Tonight, all that fantastic stuff. But then the song Shakin', oh my goodness. That's one of those songs that just gets me just so pumped up and reminds me all the time of why Eddie is the rock god that he was. It's just something about that song that it's kind of magical to me, because you listen to it and it's like, I hear something R&B going on. I hear something totally 80s pop going on. I hear something totally rock and roll going on. And it's just like, just Shakin' to me is just Eddie doing his thing, and I cannot get enough of it. So that's one I listen to all the time. My boy Billy Idol here, Greatest Hits, another fantastic one. And again, I won't talk about each one. I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot of the titles there. So it's earlier stuff going into a lot of stuff off his album Rebel Yell, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, and that's pretty well covered on this. On in the Cradle of Love and all of that great stuff. Next one that made the top 13, Peter Gabriel, Shaking the Trees, another awesome Greatest Hits album. Here you have stuff from Salisbury Hill, Sledgehammer, Don't Give Up, Red Rain, Shock the Monkey. I mean, just big time. A lot of great stuff on this album here. They could have pulled 1 or 2 more tracks off of So and put it on here, which would have made it almost perfection, but it's still a fantastic album. And this is just a beautiful sealed copy. I got his VCLT like 9 years ago or something like that, and even after all this time, I have not been able to bring myself to open it. I just always go to the CD when I want to spin it, but beautiful classic records pressing of that. So fantastic album there. Another classic that makes my top 13, New Order Substance, 1987. I mean, come on. I mean, True Faith, Blue Monday, Bizarre Love Triangle. Whew. killer. So that has to be on the list. Zapp, Roger and Zapp, one of the ultimate funk records of all time, talking about that voice box, electric funk, that type of thing. And I guarantee if you go through and listen to every song on this from front to back and really get a good feel for each part of each song, you could easily go pick out 100 hip-hop songs that were sampled directly from something on this album right here. Because, I mean, Zapp and Roger, just more bounce to the ounce. I Can Make You Dance, Dance Floor. I mean, just, cannot say enough about that one. Creed Greatest Hits. I was very excited when this first got pressed, because I think up to the time when this got pressed, the only thing that had come out was Human Clay. And I mean, I was lucky enough to get a copy of that early on, but I wanted all the other stuff, and My Own Prison and all that hadn't been pressed yet. I know Kraft just did a pressing of that. But yeah, so when this came out, I was so freaking pumped. I went to Walmart and actually got 2 copies of it. But yeah, again, everything you would expect from their greatest hits. Torn, My Own Prison, What's This Life For, Are You Ready, Higher, With Arms Wide Open, What If, One Last Breath, My Sacrifice, and some other stuff too. I'm kind of skipping over a few things there, but say what you want about Creed, they were awesome, in my opinion. They were one of the few bands that could make music as emotional as they did, and at the same time make music big enough to fill a stadium of 30,000 people. I mean, that's just something a lot of bands, I mean, you may have your band that sings a favorite song and you love it and you get all emotionally wrapped up to it, but some music is just much more emotional driven music, and even if you don't necessarily get it, you know, you don't like it, so to speak, you can get the emotional power of the music. And a lot of bands that they can't do that on a stadium scale. I mean, they just really can't. You know, Dickinson always talked, from Iron Maiden, he always talked about how when he sang and how he tried to do things so big and animated, he was like, I'm always trying to reach the person at the very back of the stadium and pull them like right up front with me. Like that, he kind of talked about that whole concept of being that size of a band, playing that size of an arena, but really being able to draw people in and make it close. And Creed did that as well as any band did. So I don't care what anybody says. I freaking love them. And then I'll go right into Enya right after that. So I'll take all the heat in just one big swipe. But again, I love Enya. If I had my choice of seeing 10 artists in concert, she would be one that's on my list that I would love to see in concert. All kinds of great stuff on there. Love it to death. I'll never forget too, when I bought this album, I was at a Barnes and Noble actually, and I got 2 albums that day. And the guy rang up the first album, and then he grabbed the Enya album, and he goes, like, he get ready to scan it, and he goes, didn't see that coming. And then just like scanned it and kept going. We both had a good laugh about it. It was just kind of one of those kind of funny, cool moments. But yeah, love Enya. Next here, Tim McGraw, The Biggest Hits, another awesome Walmart exclusive. And again, I mean, I love Tim McGraw, one of my favorite current artists, but just his storytelling on here is just the thing that makes country music beautiful to me. And with stuff like Don't Take the Girl, It's Your Love that he did with Faith Hill, Like You Were Dying, Humble and Kind, just beautiful music for the soul. You know, I've always said this is the type of album that if you could actually take an album and give it to your child or your son as he's growing up and said, this is what he's going to live up to be and what he's going to live to do, this is one of those albums you want to download inside of him, kind of thing, because it's just so freaking awesome. Now, talking about one of the albums that I was so pumped got pressed on vinyl, it was this bad boy right here, because this is a CD that I played to no end for I don't know how many years, but Simply the Best by Tina Turner. You know, songs like The Best, I Can't Stand the Rain, What's Love Got to Do with It, Let's Stay Together, Typical Male, We Don't Need Another Hero, Private Dancer, Better Be Good to Me, Nutbush, City Limits, River Deep, Mountain High, and I'm skipping over a ton of stuff. But just an awesome greatest hits album. So when I first saw this was pressed, after loving it on CD for so many years, I got so freaking excited. And then they pissed me off because my favorite song that I used to listen to on the CD was a song called Look Me in the Heart, which wasn't a gigantic hit for her, but somehow it just became one of my favorite songs. And for some reason, they decided to cut it off of the vinyl pressing and they added something else on there. So that kind of ticked me off. But still, having my Tina on vinyl, and that's my girl. I love Tina. What an incredible woman, incredible performer. And I'll say the same thing about my boy here, Lionel Richie. This is number 13, the Definitive Collection. I mean, again, right there with Bruce Springsteen is one of my absolute favorite modern day songwriters of all time, even though they're both like 100 years old now. But no, yeah, one of the greatest songwriters of all time. And this Definitive Collection Greatest Hits, you can see they used the back cover off of Can't Slow Down, but does a good job of covering all of his hits from those 3 albums he had in the 80s, which were just insane. The self-titled Can't Slow Down and Dancing on the Ceiling. So you get all the hits off of those albums, plus you get some of the stuff from this Commodore era and stuff. So it's just, if you don't have any other Lionel Richie in your collection and you can find one of these, just a fantastic one to have. So anyway, there you go, VC. Those are kind of my ones that didn't make it and my 13 picks. So yeah, as always, let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys watching, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.